about my book and my journey, my book is called Woman Work It Out. It's it's a book on achieving personal transformation and then professional success. My agenda or my meaning of writing this book was also inspired by my life. I have been in IT for 20 years, and within that, I worked in a lot of technology leadership roles across countries and regions. And also, I ran my own IT company for a few years. So I've been an entrepreneur. So being in services industry, in products company, and in having my own venture kind of gave me a lot of breadth of knowledge working across a lot of kinds of cultures and corporations. And I thought, beyond the point, even in my life, life always happens to everybody. So I actually had some parts where I was successful, but I was not finding meaningful success. And I came out of that period, and at the same time, I was working, I was having my personal responsibilities. So beyond that time went past, and I think that all those memories got stuck, and I got a chance to write this book and translate all those personal and professional experiences within my book, where I lead my readers who are mostly working professionals, or who work in corporates, or also individuals who are seeking to achieve their dreams or achieve meaningful success in their life. For all of these audience, I thought I need to culminate some set of disciplines and some journey, quoting my own life experiences and stories which they can relate to. And I've provided a lot of guidance based on what you need to become successful. And after you have that, because we all aspire to do something in life, and we have a lot of dreams in life. So how do you support those dreams meaningfully beyond the point just getting there? So there are a lot of disciplines I've covered, which also relates to a professional's life, their day-to-day life. For a leader, for a manager, there are so many issues within the organization to keep up with culture, keep up with performances, keep up with high-speed expectations that we have now to deliver results and all of that. So I've tried to cover those disciplines that you need to start your career, retain your career, and escalate your career. So that you, with one book, you basically have all that you need to plan preemptively and at least know of that what's coming your way. And it's not just a gyan, as I was talking to other authors as well, that I don't believe in reading just too much. I believe in putting things into action and having those ideas and creative perspective from somebody who's already done that in the arena. And coming from that, basically I have also incorporated a lot of practice exercises for each of the roles that an organization can have, so that collectively, if everybody works, then there is a lot of hope for having healthy work cultures created in the corporate world. Because beyond the point, if we think about how a country grows, how a state grows, how a city grows, we are banking a lot on educated people who are working in corporate world. And if more and more of that we are going to see, we really want to make sure that we retain healthy culture, so that people are invited to work in corporates rather than discouraged. So that was my intention to write the book. I was an avid reader though, because I read a lot of non-fiction books to self-help books to actually lead my career. And I really love a lot of psychologists and even industrial and organization psychologists who write books. So basically from there I became a reader in past 10 years. And I think it was preparing me to be a writer one day. And when I actually got to meet one of my guru, which I consider in my life, spiritual mentor, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he has written so much literary work that inspired me to get onto it and take my pen and start writing. Because inspired from his life and his contribution, I thought that my guru is asking me to just pen this down and reach more of masses, because now I am a success coach. I run my own company. I do one-on-one coaching for executives and leaders, for professional development and career transition and success. And I also do mental and emotional well-being for professionals, so counseling for that. But I have a limit to how many I can help. So my ambition or my wish is to reach a lot more than I can one-on-one. And in that spirit, I thought that book is a very good medium by which I can reach the masses, and they can also find the mentor that they wish to seek in their life, because it's very difficult to find the mentor who can resonate with you, who's gone through the challenges you are going through and can empathize with you and also give you solution to actually that works for your context. So this was the whole idea and the journey. What I'm trying to do now is to basically spread this message through the book, and spread the message that the book is available out there worldwide in ebook and in paperback format. So if anybody is interested in going through a personal transformation and thereby actually achieving hyper scale success in their life, both personally and professionally, then I think this is one book to grab it, because it culminates a lot of knowledge which I have seen reading so many worthy people's books, the models that I've worked, and models that I've seen on myself and on my mentees as well. So it's a very practical and approachable book, and I think I hope to help people achieve their meaningful success, not just be successful for the sake of being successful. And that's my intention. All the books have so much promise nowadays, more than the promise that you would probably get it by watching a video. So
true.
So I think books are the ones to actually lead your way through. And personal growth beyond a point is the only thing that you can do, is what I believe truly. That's really, if you want to control something, control that. And forget about every other control. If you control that one thing, everything else falls in place. And that's the premise of even my book, where you can start with your personal growth and how you can expand that goodness, not just within you, but it's that energy is so infectious that it starts to spread around your environment, because it challenges you, it challenges people around you. And so I'm very hopeful. Through my book, I think a lot of people can really seek benefit. And as you rightly said, right, you are a project manager, you lead a team of people, and if all of those people can collectively even buy such kind of books, not just this one, maybe say a very relevant book, and decide that, okay, hey, in a month, we are going to read, say, one chapter of the book and come and sit and brainstorm and see what is applicable to us and what we can define more, which works for our team. Those kind of things really help teams to collaborate but form an allyship, trust within themselves. They can promote each other's work without being insecure about their own jobs. I think a lot of those challenges, you're smiling because I know you know the challenges I'm speaking about, but a lot of these have been actually being captured in the book, because I believe in addressing the elephant in the room, which nobody talks about. And these are some of the things which are just hard hitting, but it needs to be spoken. And it's not just needs to be spoken, but needs to be addressed as well. So I've given some practical tips that people can start infusing in their daily life. They don't really need to plan so much. Whatever works, right? My intention is whatever works for a work culture in any company to grow at even at a team level, or at a business group level, or at an organization level. So I can give another example with respect to professional world, wherein I think I don't want to touch base on very sexist example, but I think that is very predominant in the work culture. The idea of how women can be looked at as a diversity candidate, right? Because more and more companies wants to do diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they are actually name tagging women candidates as the diversity candidates. In some sense, if you see, I talk about in my book that it's really giving women platform to come up more, which is a good thing. But name tagging is something which I really don't think so that it's very healthy way of doing it, right? There are a lot of other minority represented groups within the company also. Likewise, women face a lot of challenge that their words are not taken for it. They voice up, their voices are shown as, hey, you're very dominating. If they don't speak up, they say, hey, you are very timid and shy. So no matter, I think, what you do as a woman, showing your femininity within the work culture becomes a taboo in some sense, because in the patriarchy hierarchy of the world that we live in, lot of business outcomes and business standards are defined by seeing how men actually work in the workplace, and that performance standard, the way you talk, the way you present yourself, the way you are engaging, the way you are performing, where your numbers are, where you are leading, where you are motivating, everything is being just funneled by that gold standard. And if you don't fit in that gold standard, how women have to actually lose their femininity and become more masculine to actually even be accepted in that world. So in that kind of scenario, which is very predominant, it happens very subtly. I call it microaggressions in the book. And those microaggressions, you can see it in the tonality of communication. You see it in the writing styles. You see it in behaviors. You see it in acceptance. You see it in acknowledgement of your work. Or you see it in the opportunities are given to you or not. So all of those, how you can actually make a difference, where to start, where you can start to make a difference, and what you can do. What generally people do and approach is they go by skilling it. That if women can be more skilled, then everything would be fine. If they can be more assertive in communication, it would become very easy to work. In some sense, in some part, it is true, but beyond the point, that doesn't work. So when it stops working, what do you need to do to actually make it work at a more deeper level, so that we are addressing a lot of these issues, and a lot of behavioral issues also come about, because not just societal psyche that we have, but also because of our own individual environments, our own individual stressors, our own individual mental health. So considering all of that in the topic of work culture in the book, I've talked about a lot. I've talked about in the topic of not just using your intellect, but how you can go beyond your intellect, which is your left brain talking. How you can address these issues, but it can't be done by one, as I said. It has to be done at an individual level. So there are exercises for individuals, managers, leaders, executives and policymakers within the organization. So all of them collectively can do something to bring about change, but it starts with you, and then the environment has to support that. So, but it's still possible. So my objective is to show that a lot of these things happen on a daily life of a woman going out to work. On the outside, you can say, hey, you're going to a very nice, office space. You have such a good pay package. You are so much sophisticatedly talking in English and delivering the value. You're flying here and there in other countries and all of that. But the ground reality remains, if your daily experience of going to work, one is work motivation, which is your core work, which will give you, and another is also the environment, which is the biggest issue now, because people have found the way to create work functionally, but people are now struggling with the issue of how can they create a work environment which is healthy, which is collaborative, which is more on a you wish well for others, right? Rather than just working on your singularly, So a lot of those things have been talked about. Are looking for one-on-one coaching or mentoring, I think the first thing to start is with the book, because I feel that there are a lot of times we think we need coach or mentor, but there are a lot of times you can actually coach and mentor yourself. So start with the book and try the self-mentoring way, rather than spending a lot of money and time and coordination with your coach or mentor. I think book is a good way to self-pace and self-mentor yourself. After that, even, or you have a very specific, issue or very specific goal in mind, and you can write to me. My email address is there on the LinkedIn, on the profile, that Instagram profile. Okay. Or if you are reading the book and you want to share your experience, I'll share my email ID on the in this particular
we can do
video later. It's author.tejal.rathod@gmail.com. So you can share your experiences, any comments or anything that you have on that. But if you are looking for somebody, since I do counseling for professionals, which is another key area where professionals can actually, there's a lot of help available for counseling in the domain of, say, personal lives and all, but not in professional arena. So I have filled that gap into, if somebody wants to really do emotional well-being kind of a counseling, my services are listed on my webpage, which also you can find it in my Instagram profile bio. So you can write to me and then we can get in touch to see what can be worked. But it would be more of, if you have a group of people, then I do some workshops as well, but it's up to you to find out the group of people and reach out, or if you want to do one-on-one, but identify a goal that you really want to address. I think that's a key. Without that, no mentor, no coach is going to help you. So start with there, and then if you think that, hey, this is probably I can reach through my own efforts, I think guides like these can help you, or any other self-help book. But then if your goal is something a little bit beyond your reach, to be mentored, self-mentored, I think then you consider a formal mentoring and coaching, because I have full faith that people can mentor themselves. But then there are times when you actually are out of creative juice, out of a lot of help that you can give to yourself. That's the time you can reach out to mentor or a coach. That's my honest opinion. I would have been in your position. I would also approach it that way. So look around and see. But if you want an unbiased opinion, mentor within the organization and mentor outside organization. Mentor within organization can help you through only limited scope. When you want to go and take another good perspective new perspective, then you need to seek mentor outside your organization. That's what I would say, because that works in a very different light. The amount of what you can say, the discovery which goes through is at a very different plane. Yeah. So that's where you can reach me. The subject you touched on, the burnout, is also talked about, and there are certain tips and beyond the point, how you balance your personal and professional priorities. But people don't know how to do it. So that's what has been explained in what I call it work it out model and framework. So it's a very systematic process. So I hope that helps you also. I love meditation these days. Like since past 5 years, I'm building upon that mindfulness practice. So I do mantra chanting, and in the morning hours, that really, as you said, writing basically leaves all your stressors away. For me, mantra chanting does that. And I love reading the Vedic scriptures and understanding practical wisdom which I can apply in my life through that, because those scriptures are not heavy body like researches which are done and those books are published. Those are very light-hearted stories, but they have so much depth and wisdom attached.
Wow.
So I love reading those scriptures as well. Beyond that, I like traveling, but I don't enjoy traveling the way I used to earlier. I like traveling to a degree. I do a very different things now when I travel. So I go and experience how local would experience a city, rather than just going to touristy places and all of that. And I'm a museum junkie, so I like going to museums of all kinds. So a lot of information hoarder I am, but beyond the point, I sit down and reflect and see what I can take from it and what I cannot.
Wow.
And I like nature, so I do some environment conservation activities whenever I get time. I think then a lot of usual stuff, right? Like listening to music. I think my taste in music has also changed a lot. I like more of spiritual music now. So I'm much calmer person now than I was, because I was also having very similar, drive that, hey, I want to achieve and all of that. But now, because of those things, I've actually managed to practice a lot of mindfulness activities. And I love reading about Ayurveda actually. I love reading about health a lot, and what you can do, practice, like illnesses and all. It's a different kind of hobby, I think, but it really gives me good pleasure when I do that. Because I just understand what goes through in our body, and also my hobbies are a little bit more of left brain centric. But I think I do enjoy using them in practical life. That's what I like. I just don't like hobby for the sake of doing something. That's the mindfulness which I do. There are no returns in that. It's just my time to connect with myself and the God. So yeah, so that's what I do.